Explaining the Meaning and Purpose of Life, Part 4. The concluding 7 points of information that connect and explain the ultimate meaning and purpose of life. In my 20-year research, I discovered multiple sources of information similar to puzzle pieces that I have joined together to put together the big picture of the meaning and purpose of life, which is related ultimately to developing consciousness for creation purposes in the afterlife reality. Firstly, there is my expert level methodology in my 20-year research that I use to determine the most logical meaning and purpose of life. It involves a logical theory of the structure of meaning of life involving 2 components. And the purpose of life can only involve a non-material product produced through consciousness that would be brought into the second component of the afterlife reality. If the integrity of complex DNA and matter can be held together in this chaos reality for eons, logically, the same incredible probability could also exist for complex life and consciousness to exist in the second component of the afterlife reality. Many ancient and modern philosophers could not solve the answer to the meaning and purpose of life because they were stuck at understanding the structure of words, meanings, and purpose. They were stuck at only perceiving one component within meaning instead of perceiving 2. The structure of the word meaning is based on one component that has got to do with another component. To perceive the question of the meaning of life, we have to perceive our consciousness experiencing this reality as one component. And the other related component involves our future consciousness experiencing a future afterlife reality. The word purpose is based on what our consciousness experiencing this reality could produce to be brought into the second component of the future afterlife reality. The only way that the meaning and purpose of life can exist is through the transportation of consciousness from the current reality to the future afterlife component, taking along a generated product stored within it. My 20-year research has found that the only possible product that can be brought into the second component future reality is related to consciousness development. Secondly, my research in consciousness development discovered the mechanism of negativity, disorder, and how to neutralize it to develop orderly consciousness structure, which can also resolve extreme depression and suicide ideation. Such implies that there is a purpose for the existence of negative disorderly patterns in this reality, which is related to consciousness development and purpose of life. Being able to overcome disorderly dysfunctional patterns in consciousness structure to build and sustain orderly ones allows one to understand the fine details for constructing and supporting orderly patterns in consciousness structure. Even just to keep consciousness together during extremely negative moments in life would develop connectivity, order, resilience, and strength of consciousness structure. So do hang in there, even when it seems that nothing in life is improving. You are still developing very important elements to be brought into the afterlife reality. Thirdly, there have been thousands of near-death experiences where negative people have died momentarily, and their consciousness left their physical bodies. During this intervention, their consciousness goes to the holding place reality, where their level of negativity and positivity is reflected in the quality of their holding place, which can be hellish or heavenly, depending on which quality they hold closer in their minds. Such is to let them know the true nature of their human character's consciousness. Many then go on to experience a life review, where they relive their entire human's character's life, actions, and effects on people, animals, and the whole of reality by feeling the emotions of all people and animals their actions affected, as well as to get to know other people's thoughts right there and then when it happened in the past. They get to re-experience the types of order and disorder that they caused others to feel in their entire lifetime. Such implies the need for us to create positive order out of negative disorder, and not to create negative disorder to be used as a weapon to torment positive and innocent people and animals. Therefore, other people's and animals' consciousness acts as sensors to detect and reflect the level of negativity and positivity that a person has committed in life. This is why it is important to treat all people and animals equally, with the intention to create order for all. Many NDERs were told that they had to return to their human lives to fulfill a certain unfinished and unspecified work. They always reported that the love in the afterlife reality that is made up of connectivity, peace, and order was so incredible, much stronger than the emotional feelings from our romantic relationships. They did not want to return to this human reality at all. They reported that the afterlife reality was more real than real, and felt like their true home, which made this disorderly human reality feel like a dream simulation in comparison, like cardboard once said. Witnesses of such extraordinary experience involved professional scientists and medical doctors who have come forward with their life-changing testimonies and emphasized that their experience was not a hallucination. It is usually people who have too many unresolved negativity disorder patterns who get to experience such NDEs. The rest of us don't accumulate so many negative disorder patterns to reach that required turning point. It seems that the afterlife reality has too much order, where there is not much disorder to be organized into order, which could be why there is a need for a chaotic negative disorderly reality to exist for a good purpose. Fourthly, as I was nearing the end of my 20 years research in 2015, I experienced a clear vision during sleep, where I saw my personality represented by a round geometric pattern overlaying a door on a white wall, which then became objects that were arranged in a pattern directly reflecting my personality. The room was bright and beautiful with incredible tranquility, almost like mystical fiction, with divine light shining outside one of the two windows. I saw the vision for 10 seconds and it ended. From how I interpret the vision, the round geometric pattern was a direct representation of my personality and orderly consciousness structure. As humans experience this human reality, they would accumulate in their consciousness mental connections that are based on how accurately they identify connections between components in reality. The disorders that humans have chosen to resolve or left unresolved would affect how orderly and disorderly that their consciousness structure would become. The things that we can create in the heavenly afterlife is based on what our human selves train ourselves to do here in the human reality. We are in a simulated environment where humans and individuals mold in a gigantic cause and effect reality mechanism for developing the soul consciousness, to develop the natural ability to create order out of disorder, to be used for creation purposes. People who are mentally disordered leave their rooms very messy, and they like disorder and destructive behavior, using negative disorderly behavior as a weapon. People who are mentally peaceful leave their room to be orderly and efficient, and practice constructive behavior, using peaceful solutions as a weapon against disorder. Souls with the role of consciousness developers are here to develop mental compatibility to create orderly things, to so-called ascend to such higher order awareness. The beginning of any mental creation involves organizing the greatest level of disorder and disconnectivity of components. Such is the connection between creation ability and organizing negative and disorderly patterns. Consciousness developers need to develop a long range of disorders to order creation ability, to start from a great level of disorder to reach a stable, orderly baseline. A longer range ability could develop more complicated complex objects compared to the narrow range ability that involves creating simple objects. People who just want to experience nice things without putting in the effort to create nice things won't develop much creation ability. Even cleaners, dishwashers, and people picking up trash on the beach are fulfilling more of the purpose of life as compared to such people. However, we are not here to train to be OCD perfectionists. It is not about creating the most beautiful things or structures and want everything to be neat while despising ugliness and untidiness. But the goal is to resolve disorder and its resulting emotional suffering in order to gain creating ability, to make things better and more peaceful, to train true spiritual love through the emotions of curiosity, connectivity that involves oneness, care, empathy, compassion, and clarity, truth-seeking, acceptance, realization, liberation. The Life Review specifies the purposes of consciousness developers to involve resolving disorder and related emotional suffering, which my theory has theorized to be used for the purpose of creation in the afterlife. We are here to develop a connecting, organizing glue in consciousness, which is the source of consciousness, or some call God, probably used to create everything, including this reality in life. Many people worship orderly beauty and shun away from the disorderly ugliness. They practice hierarchy, respecting beautiful, wealthy people, and disrespecting the ugly, poor, needy people, and practice negative disorder behavior on them like a toxic weapon. They therefore choose only to resolve the disorderly problems of the beautiful, wealthy, and choose not to resolve the disorderly problems of the ugly, needy. Well, the Life Review has told countless people that they should stop doing this and to start practicing unconditional love by resolving disorderly problems of the ugly, needy. To worship good-looking supporters and the ideal types of people in a hierarchy system is definitely not the purpose of life. Beautiful things, beautiful people, and happiness are meant to be a support and inspiration for those fulfilling the purpose of life. They are not the purpose of life itself. In the big spiritual picture of meaning and purpose of life, there's actually no true hierarchy of who is better and more worthy than who. There are many ugly disorders in this reality for a good, specific function and purpose, and we should resolve them wherever and whoever they are in order to fulfill the purpose of life. In this working mechanism of the meaning and purpose of life, it is about teamwork, where everyone fulfills their own respective role in order to fulfill the ultimate purpose to generate the final product. For those beautiful, elegant, wealthy people who despise and torment the poor, needy, and ugly, they should stop doing so, because such form of judgment is based on ignorance and misinformation. The type of orderly and disorderly patterns in reality that we choose to be placed in our consciousness would develop the connecting perspectives that create our individual personality. Our personality is based on such orderly and disorderly patterns we assimilate from reality. To develop a well-rounded, orderly consciousness, we have to connect to various parts of reality to resolve various types of disorderly problems. This is a reason why near-death experiencers have the core message of unconditional love, of resolving all the disorderly problems unconditionally rather than resolve conditional selected ones. We should not overlook any kind of negative disorders, no matter how small, but resolve each and every one of them, even call the police if we have to. We should not shun away from resolving negativity for the wrong assumption that facing negativity will create more negativity. It is being indifferent to negativity that will allow the negativity to grow. Focusing on beautiful things in this reality can, instead of fulfilling the purpose of life, can turn into a form of escapism that only wastes our own time and allows negativity to increase to dangerous levels. Consuming drugs and alcohol would only destroy the brain and turn people with the role of supporters and consciousness developers into negativity givers. In this reality, it is not practical to be a totally peaceful, angelic person in order to successfully resolve many types of negative disorderly problems and people that do not respond well to the reason and peaceful diplomacy. In this case, we should utilize disorder as a form of deterrence to prevent further disorders from emerging. Many children are not good at this, which causes them to be affected by school bullies until they kill themselves. Also important is that we should not create much greater disorder than the disorderly problem itself, such as becoming abusive school teachers or violent parents who add more negative disorderly patterns into their children rather than teach them how to create positive orderly perspectives. In such a case, the ones trying to do good either have the role of negativity givers or have gotten corrupted by negativity disorders and have become a part of the problem. Fifthly, we live in a highly chaotic universe where the order is needed to create a complex human body is theoretically impossible unless there is a creator who possesses such an incredible level of order. And the amount of chaos in this reality was seemingly left for us, not too much and not too little, but just significant and sufficient in order for us to work to create a balancing order, in order to develop something. Have you never suspected something fishy about the strange 50-50 occurrence? If the probability for life consciousness to exist in this chaotic universe has already existed, then the incredible probability for life consciousness to exist in an afterlife reality would probably exist as well. If our dreams and the reality can both feel real and both made up of some same energy, then this is possible. This is possible that this reality is a dream simulation, and that our true reality could be a non-material reality where everything is done with mental thought. Similar to dreams, when we wake up at the moment, when we organize our thoughts to realize that the strange, disorderly reality doesn't feel logical. We could also wake up from the disorderly reality when we organize our thoughts sufficiently to realize that this reality is not logical and real enough. Sixthly, I had spiritual encounters with ghosts who showed me how they died. Divine, white-robed beings who gave me encouraging messages to keep on going in my life, as well as the higher spiritual self of my mother, who showed me her true spiritual and orderly divine self from the other side. Such heavily implies entities from outside the human simulation, interacting with characters within the human simulation. Just because something is foreign does not mean that it is not true and real yet. Seventhly, the theory of overcoming negative disorderly problems to develop consciousness for creating things in the afterlife does fit in with what I personally think that the meaning and purpose of life should be, because the machine mechanism involving negativity resolution should logically generate a product of greater consciousness value. Of course, some would argue that the meaning and purpose of life could also be the purpose of experience, entertainment, or for souls to appreciate the peaceful, orderly positivity in the afterlife spirit realm. However, the only theory that can keep people to go living on an extremely negative life instead of killing themselves is, in fact, only my theory, not the theories of experience. For contrasting appreciation, or even chocolate can do that. So I would like to think that my theory is the right one, which is probably the same thing as practicing true, unconditional love. These 7 big points of information have pointed to the hypothesis theory that the purpose of life involves organizing the disorder in this chaotic human reality into peaceful, compatible order, which would develop consciousness structure into an orderly geometric pattern that would be used directly to create things in the afterlife. So, how did I connect consciousness development to the purpose of creation? In the theoretical afterlife reality where consciousness lives on, consciousness is just awareness and is formless without a body. We would not have any physical hands and feet. We would have to rely on the mind alone to do everything, including creating a living reality space, a new body, hands and feet, clothing, a home, etc. At the beginning of any creation lies the greatest amount of disconnectivity and disorderly patterns, where all the parts are all over the place. Creation involves forming compatible connectivity of various parts and organizing the disorderly patterns in order to create a properly connected and orderly formed object. Similar to how our mental orderly or disorderly states can create similar good or bad dream realities, an afterlife reality where the mind directly creates one's own reality would also function in the same way. Developing mental order would definitely affect the final created product. In the afterlife reality, where thought and personality could instantly manifest into reality, our reality is based on our consciousness state. In order to create orderly realities, we have to now develop orderly consciousness. We have to develop our consciousness so orderly that we have to become the very nature and essence of the order itself. We have to copy and assimilate the patterns of order into our consciousness. However, my decades of research has indicated that not everyone has this role of consciousness development for afterlife creation. Similar to how a machine has many parts with many different roles, there are the ones who have much disorder to overcome in order to develop their consciousness. Then there are the supporters who would support the lives of such developers. And then there would be the negativity givers, such as disabled children, strangers, or family members who would provide additional disorderly patterns for consciousness developers to overcome more negativity disorders in order to develop more resilient and finer consciousness geometric structure. Since there is the possibility and the probability that my theory is the true answer to the meaning and purpose of life, it is prudent to prepare for such a possible purpose of life. Otherwise, we might have to return to this simulator reality to complete this purpose of life again. So, you can see how I have these 7 clues that have led me to realize the answer to the meaning and purpose of life. And I will definitely try to fulfill my own role in case my theory is right. I don't know about you, but I certainly do not wish to come back to experience this same reality again. The other side should have better things waiting for us. In case you hear about someone asking about the meaning of life question, do share with them my answer. If you want to take on my personalized course for consciousness development, contact me at timothyleeconsulting@gmail.com. Do connect with me on LinkedIn. Use the search words, the meaning of life expert, to find my profile. If you like to see me feed stray cats, do subscribe to my cat feeding Patreon, where your monthly contribution can support my work. The link is patreon.com/helpmefeedcats.